This is round one of the Progressive Sealed event that we had at our charity event in Portland, Oregon at Lucky Lab Brewery. The top of the screen is a player from a little south of Portland, Mcminnville. Dominic. He's playing Corruptor. And then I am playing Savior at the bottom of the screen. It's turn one. Dominic played Open Grave, was able to create that skeleton token and pass. Turn one for my deck. Play Dark Alley. Dark Alley turn one. Hauntless Head to take advantage of the Dark Alley ability. So it's the first unit that minion that enters the site. It will gain stealth and then pass turn. Dominic got a second sight. Looks like a Fertile Earth, unless he changes his mind here. Yeah, he changed his mind. Twilight Bloom to the center square. 2 mana for a Noisome Twosome, moving his skeleton token up. Rolling for the Hauntless Head. 14 places it there. Can't make use of it this turn. That's okay. Setting up for my second sight here. Tapping for an Open Mausoleum. Playing off to the side. I was not just. I think looking in my hand, like I probably was not ready to meet Dominic in the center there, and so I wanted to buy myself another turn and force him to play forward if he wanted to kind of get to me. So instead, he's going to play more cautiously. He's playing a Fertile Earth to the side, and he does not have a play on his turn 3, so he passes turn. Rolling for the Haunt. Haunt gets sent to square 1 up in the corner. Again, no help there. And then still playing to the side, not meeting his sights yet. But at this point, I do have 2 Air Threshold, so I can play the Vampire Bats with 1 mana left over to pay the Savior ability and ward it. And now the bats threaten in diagonally to his sight with a ward on it. So again, just like some of the incremental value that you can get from Savior. I have the potential here to attack in with the bats to the Noisome Twosome. Kill that. It would trigger the Death Right, but the bats would still get to live. And if I had taken damage, they would heal for 2 for striking a unit, which is nice. Dominic playing a Spore Sprout, not taking advantage of that Genesis, and instead just playing out a beefy unit here. 4 for a Monks of Kulsaba. I think I had to think every time you pronounce that name, and I might not have gotten it right. The Monks, 4 for the Monks, just a 4 power body, which is good. Tapping for a sight. And I think I forget to roll for the Hauntless Head, so it just stays there in the corner for a round. Playing a Haystack to the center now. 4 mana for turn. So the monks creating a problem for me with the bats. I can't attack with the bats, otherwise I guess I do attack with the bats. Attacking with the bats onto the skeleton. That was probably an ill-advised move there. Dominic could have just blocked with the monks, but I think he didn't want to. Moving the skeleton on passing turn. So that was, I think I got lucky on that one. If I hadn't played the Earl, then there would have been maybe a chance that I had something else to threaten to do the last 2 points of damage to the monks to remove it. But as of right now, yeah, so Vesper Swarm coming down, that's going to be a problem for me. Like 4 power airborne is going to be hard to deal with. I still have the bats, but they have lost the ward. The monks attacking in, and then I block with the Earl, and we're having a quick discussion. Dominic was just clarifying how the Earl's ability works, so it doesn't take any damage from ordinary, and it can't be targeted by ordinary. So he follows that up with an attack with the noxz twosome, so 2 points of damage in on the site, and then passive turn back. So again, the Vesper Swarm is potentially a problem for me. I need to be able to do another 2 points of damage to it somehow. I could have the bats attack in, but that's only halfway there. That only gets me halfway there. Looks like I missed the roll for the Hauntless Head again, which is unfortunate. And the reach with the Vesper Swarm with Airborne is somewhat problematic. So it really limits what I can do with the vampire bats. Like I can't just attack something and ignore them. I can't attack fertile earth, for example, just because they have airborne and they could just defend diagonally as well. I can't attack in with the Earl, even though I think it's probably better to leave the Earl there as a blocker against the monks, which are still there on that site. I got a second Vampire Bats that hit the board here, and so that will provide me a way to deal with the Vesper Swarm potentially, but it's going to take me another turn to get there. There's the 3 mana just to play the bats and ward it, and then passing turn back to kind of see what Dominic does and kind of see if I can get into a position where I can get the bats in on the Vesper Swarm. I would say, like, my train of thought at this point also is just like with the bats, like they buy you another turn or two if you can get any sort of strike off with them. So like once they start healing, it kind of undoes any potential damage that Dominic is going to squeeze through here. He's attacking with the monks just to see what I was going to do. I just block again with the Earl. It does leave my sights open potentially to attack them with the noxz twosome. I would have to use the bats to do that. He played the Snallygaster out back on his back row. Snallygaster, like +1 movement, is just like really good on that body, like that 3-power body. You can play it pretty far back, like all the way back on your back row, and it still has enough reach to be relevant and like defend or threaten to attack. He's gonna attempt to get in 2 points with the noxz twosome. I'm opting not to block that. Again, just because I want these vampire bats to be able to deal with the Vesper Swarm, potentially. Or even the monks of... the monks. I could attack in with, say, the Earl. And then follow up with the warded vampire bats. The plague rats makes my life a lot harder, just because it's a very effective blocker. Not against the Earl, but against the vampire bats. And I really need those bats to be able to connect with whatever I'm trying to hit. And so the problem right now is that if I try to attack the monks of Kasaba, the plague rat could just defend and kind of prevent that from happening. Same thing if I attempt to attack the Vesper Swarm, you can defend against airborne attack. Even if your minion doesn't have airborne itself. So that does put me in a bind here. If I moved up and I attacked with the Earl to try to remove the rats, he has multiple defenders, right? He could block with the Vesper Swarm, he could block with the Snallygaster. Neither of which are like very enticing to me at the moment. I'm taking a long time to think about it, just because one of the problems with Savior is it starts creating like a very long, like complicated board where all of your minions are there and like you don't really want to give anything up, and you're just trying to figure out the best way to like maneuver your pieces to make favorable trades. I still have that skeleton token that's peeking out on haystacks. I could use that to do something like attack into the monks, or if it gets into a position where it can trade with the rats, like maybe I could get it to do that somehow. But again, this is like the problem that I had with this deck when I was doing the deck building of it at the beginning of the event. Like it has a lot of minions and it has like very few spells and removals. Looks like I'm opting just to take a step back and remove the twosome from the board. It does pop and create that skeleton token. I'm going to tap for another site to bring my mana base up to 5. I'm going to play Paladins of Bazia. So Paladins of Bazia comes into play. It already comes with a ward, which is nice. So 4 power with a ward. Is relatively safe, I guess. The rat can't outright kill it if it attacks in, just because it has that ward on it. So it makes any sort of like trades that Dominic wants to do a little bit more difficult. Which is why I felt more comfortable taking that attack with the Earl. So Dominic playing a Leadworks, which is unfortunate for me. It does remove. It's going to silence every nearby minion, and silencing the Paladins takes the ward off of it. Now, if he wanted to, he could attack him with the Plague Rat, but at that point, I would probably just defend with the Skeleton. and he's just kind of like. Okay, we end up taking a lot of time here on these few turns, just because it is tricky, and if you make a mistake at this point in the game, in like kind of like this limited sealed game, it becomes very difficult to recover. So if you give up, if you lose too many of these value trades, if you give up too many pieces on the board, and let your opponent kind of just control board presence, the game's going to spiral out very quickly for you. So Dominic attacking in with a skeleton for a point, and I'm going to let that through just because I don't want to give up. I can't give up that skeleton that I have just to trade with it. I need that thing to be a potential blocker, or at this point I need it to be a blocker in case he tries to attack in with the rats. He attempts to attack in with the monks, and I opt to go ahead just do the trade with the paladin. I had hoped to get some more value out of that with the ward, but he took care of that with the lead works. He's attacking with the Vesper Swarm, which is the opening that I need to get the thing off the table with my bats. So I'm having both bats defend. One of them is going to die, the other one with the ward will stay alive, and then I heal back 4 points from that combat. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, I wasn't too concerned about like him sneaking in some damage at this point, just because I knew that if I could get like some strikes off with the bats at a minimum, I was hoping to gain 4 points, and then likely I'll probably heal at least one more time from this other bat that's still on the board. Dominic, I think he played a Departed in past turn, and on this turn I finally remember that I have a Headless Haunt. So I roll Haunt, and it goes to square 11, which again is not a useful square for me. I really wish I remembered to roll that the last, I think, like two turns. Was it 2 or 3 turns at this point? Just to potentially get some to get some more use out of it. So the rat's still there, causing some problems. Although for this turn, I am attempting to attack in for 2 points of damage, because Leadworks was played on Dominic's last turn, and it has silenced everything. And then in retrospect, I think that was an illegal play, because the bats shouldn't have had airborne, and in fact, the bats shouldn't have been able to heal. They shouldn't have been able to heal from defending on that space. So that was my bad. I didn't think about that with the silence effect when it came in. But let's see. Renatus Trueblood comes into play again. That's going to be a super problematic piece for Dominic to deal with here at this point. And I can get away with playing that across from the rats just because it has airborne. So it has that bit of evasiveness, so the rats can't just attack into it. He's paying for a Penitent Knight, which is still pretty good. It's a 3-power minion that's going to hit the board here. I think he's got the one skeleton on my back row, and he could attack into the valley just to push another point of damage if he wanted to. I think he still has 3 mana per turn, but he's just gonna... No, yeah, he's gonna attack in. So he's gonna squeeze in that additional point of damage that I can't defend the past turn. Rolling for the haunt. Still on square 11, so not moving from where it is. Dominic has a decent board presence here. He's got 4 pieces, 5 pieces on the board. I think I have 4 right now, but I'm not in what I would consider great position. The Earl's still all the way on the back row. The vampire's up there. I could do some work. The problem is, like, I have to be able to take care of this plague rat, so it can't defend and kill the vampire. So what I choose to do here is Gift to the Wolf on the vampire bats. Draw my card. Attack in to the rat. And at that point, it's either saying like you let me kill the rat, or you can defend with one of your other pieces, but your other pieces will die, and I will still get to keep my bat. And that was another mistake that I made this game. I just made a lot of mistakes this game. The vampire bat should have died after it attacked the rat. The rat had lethal. Attacking in with the Tree Blood for 4 points. Playing a Den of Evil. I think that takes my mana base up to 6. 6 for an undesirable. Again, like the ability, the downside on that ability can come back to haunt you, but it is a 5 power body when it hits the table. So if they can't deal with that, you can potentially do a lot of damage with that piece. So I think, like, with the mistakes that I made this game, like the bats shouldn't be on the board anymore, right? And I shouldn't have healed at an additional 4 points when I defended with the parabats earlier. That puts our life totals closer, a little bit closer to where they would be, as opposed to where they are now. Dominic playing a Gift of the Serpent on his Penitent Knight in order to get the undesirables off the table. Just probably a good call on his parts. I didn't have a defender available, and it's worth just getting that 5 power off the board. The vampire is still going to be a huge problem for him, no matter what. That skeleton on the back row attacking in for another point of damage. I could have just blocked with the Hauntless Head. These weren't. I think I haven't really like fully watched the rest of these matches, but I am beginning to now suspect that perhaps these were not the cleanest, most well-played games of sorcery that you have ever seen. Like I said, like we were hanging out all day. It was a long day, and we were just having fun. We were like more like hanging out, in my opinion, than playing a competitive tournament. It was at a brewery, so there was food and drink, and it's just so much fun when we have these regional events to get to see everybody from the area that, you know, I only see maybe like a handful of times throughout the year, whenever we get together for kind of these larger events. So Dominic, for example, like he's like maybe 60, 90 minutes away from me, like down in Mcminnville. I've been there a couple times. It's fun visiting them to see their community and hang out. And Dominic and at least one of the other guys from Mcminnville have come up to Portland a couple times to play with us, so that's been great. There's guys from, you know, Washington area, like Shelton, Olympia, Vancouver, that come down and play with us in Portland, and we try to get up and play with them in Washington as well. And the Seattle guys, sometimes the Seattle guys end up making a trip to a tournament or two down here in Portland, which is great. Like our community especially, like we're looking for more opportunities to be able to kind of travel and kind of get out there and see more players regionally. So Dominic playing a landmass into a mausoleum. He could create the skeleton token if he wants. And it looks like he does. And then just passing turn. I think he's running out of steam. He might only have like one card in his hand at this point. And I think I still have like 3 cards in my hand, just because that's like kind of one of the benefits of Savior is like you can win card advantage if you can hit that curve and take advantage of that ability, right? Finally getting a good roll on the Hauntless Head. So we're gonna get to see it do something this turn. Attacking in for 4 points that he cannot defend. Attacking in for 2, attacking in for 3, attacking in for another 1, and attacking in for 2. So a huge swing turn here. A huge swing turn here, and at this point, like, I was just like deciding that, like, I'm just gonna race him. I'm just gonna race him because we're really like we were getting close to the end of the round here, and I felt pretty confident with the vampire on the board that unless he drew into a way to remove that, that was going to be like a lot of pressure to get me to the end of the game. I think paying 3 for is that a search party? Search party with a ward on it. Search party might have been better played on the haystacks, just so it could be in a better range to defend against the Snallygaster. Like I said, like I wasn't super concerned about the damage that was going to be coming in here, just because I felt like I could kind of win the race to door and then be in a better position to get that final strike. Is that a Hot Wheel for another 2 damage onto me, playing out a crawler, and then passing turn. So he's gonna go to door on this turn, rolling for haunt again. 4, good position. So I think like my attack here, I think I'm gonna swing in to the Departed for 2 points of damage, just to remove it. And attack for door, reposition myself, kind of with multiple attack vectors here, and just kind of like challenge Dominic to be able to come up with enough blockers or enough removal to kind of survive the next turn here. And again, like I'm just gonna like pass turn here, and pass turn here and force him to come up with the answers. I'm not sure why Dominic was running Corruptor in his sealed pool, and I meant to ask him at the event, and I forgot. Like, I never had the chance. To. It was like a large, like a medium-sized event, right? But it was a large event for us regionally. We had like 30 players plus guests at the event. Which was fun. So there were a lot of people to talk to, and there was like a lot of socializing. I think he's doing some attacks and doing some blocking with the Dreadwing. He's playing out the Willing Tribute just to get another attack in with the crawler. I think he's just like doing his best. I think he wanted to see if he could get himself, if he could get me to door. And he was the 1 point shy, and then he just like concedes because he knows he doesn't have the blockers, and he doesn't have a way to remove my pieces. So that was round one for me. It was a real messy game. Looking at it on the playback here on the video. Sorry, Dominic, if you're watching this. But it was a ton of fun, and I think we'll get to see kind of what is in that pack. What is in that pack for Progressive Sealed? So here's a look at the pack. I didn't film it on camera, but I took a picture of the contents, and you can see that on the screen now. There were a couple things in here that kind of boosted the deck that I had already pulled from my sealed pool, and then there were a couple things in the rest of it that were playables, but were in elements that I had already discarded. Like the Hellhounds doesn't really move the needle for me to get me to want to switch to fire in the deck. The Demon Hunter is a nice playable in water, and it is wardable by Savior, so that's a plus. I see Raised Militia poking its head out there. I don't think I swapped it in, but that also would have been worth considering putting into the deck that I had already built, especially because I was also playing around with like trying to get a Death Knight back in there, trying to get more undead in there, and then sneaking in like a bone spear or two. I had two bone spears in my sealed pool, and I ultimately decided to not go that route. But the bottom of the screen, you can see like the cards that were I was like pretty sure I was going to put in, or I was going to try to find room for. Another Vampire Bats that would take my Vampire Bat count to 3 in the deck. Avenging Angel, always good, and is a wardable target for Savior. So that's great to see. Field of Fixus, I put it in there just because you might get it into a position where the silence effect is going to matter early game. And then a Twilight Bloom, just because it never hurts to have some additional threshold fixing if you don't have any other sites that you need to run. Virgin of Prayer, I don't remember if that actually makes the list or not. I mean, it ends up in a lot of limited Savior decks, but I might have opted to not run that. And instead I went with like triple Vampire Bats. I like Vampire Bats a lot in Savior, just giving them that protection, guaranteeing you get maybe like 2, if not more, strikes off of them is really big. And the deck was already kind of like leaning towards that synergy with the Vampire Bats and the Renatus Trueblood. So that was the pack and some of the additions that I think I made into the existing deck, and we'll move on to round 2.